Welcome to Lifestyle Alchemy. I'm Sydney, medical astrologer, energetic alchemist, and transformation expert. In this podcast, I share what I'm actually living and learning. Sometimes that's decoding my birth chart. Sometimes it's rewiring and regulating my nervous system. Sometimes it's just real talk about what's working and what's not. This show goes beyond astrology. You'll hear about health and wellness, mindset and energy work, manifestation, spirituality, and all the things that help us actually embody who we're meant to be. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to Lifestyle Alchemy. I hope that all of you are doing well after this eclipse that we just had. We had a full moon as of day of recording. The full moon was yesterday, full moon in Virgo. And I know I personally did not actually have any kind of symptoms or I just wasn't having a hard time with it. But I know several people in my life, like Corey is a Virgo moon, and then I have another friend who is a Virgo sun, and another friend who's a Virgo moon. I have a lot of Virgo moons and just significant Virgo placements in my life. I am a Virgo Mars, but anyway, so it was easy for me, but several people that I know were kind of going through it in different ways. And Corey, who is not an astrology guy, he has a very, very, very basic awareness. He knows what his sun sign is, which is Gemini. And he knows that I've told him a lot of stuff, but he could not, if you were to ask him, hey, what's your moon sign or what is your Mars sign or your North Node, he would not be able to tell you, even though I have told him multiple times. Anyway, so he just yesterday was feeling very, very, very just tired and low energy. And yeah, I just know a lot of other people were feeling emotional and feeling the energy, whatever the energy might have felt like for them. It could be a little different for everyone, but anyway, I hope that you all have survived that, if not thrived through it. I hope that you survived it and that you are coming out on the other side. I always view a lot of full moons really do hit me hard. So I was a little bit surprised that the one that happened yesterday, I wouldn't have known it was a full moon if I didn't know that it was a full moon. Sometimes I feel the effects of a full moon a week before it fucking happens. And then there's other times where I'm just unaware that it's a full moon, except for the fact that I do know that it's a full moon. So yeah, it's always interesting. You never quite know how it's going to hit you, but it's always important to just let it happen. There's really nothing you can do. You can't prevent it. You can't fight it. I mean, I guess you can fight it, but it's not going to help. It's only going to just create more resistance and more suffering probably. So it's always good for me. What I like to do is just to surrender to it and let it be what it's going to be. Give myself love, give myself care, just whatever I need. Maybe that's a lot of extra rest. Maybe that's a little bit more food. Maybe I just need to eat a little bit more and nourish myself a little bit more, drink more water, take a bath. Is there ever a bad time to take an Epsom salt bath? I don't think so. I think that's always a good idea. And, maybe just lay down with a heating pad or whatever, a massager or whatever kind of gadget you might have that makes it more cozy. A weighted blanket. God, a weighted blanket is so nice. I know not everybody loves that sensation, but I personally love a heavy blanket on me, whether it's an actual weighted blanket or just a really heavy comforter. It just makes me feel so grounded and secure. I'm just a swaddled baby. I'm I get it. I get why we swaddle babies. It's a pleasant feeling for some of us, but, just let yourself, if you do have the luxury of allowing yourself extra space and rest, highly recommend. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is I feel like I've just been on this series of rants lately, and I certainly don't want this podcast to just like turn into me bitching about things. And that's not my intention. That's not even like how I feel about my last few episodes, but I could see how maybe it might be perceived that way. Nobody has said anything like that to me, but I'm just like having the awareness that I've been like coming on some heavy hitting topics lately, and I've just like spicy Sydney's been coming out, which like that's definitely a thing. I am in fact an opinionated person, and I'm a fire moon. I'm a Sagittarius moon. Even though, I'm a Cancer sun, I don't feel that I traditionally present as that as the stereotypical kind of version of Cancer. I'm an Aquarius rising, so I am here to also just be a disruptor and to not just like go with the flow. And a few episodes ago I was talking about groupthink, like just the sociological kind of phenomenon groupthink, and I'm just like, I am not here for that. I am not here because like just to go along with whatever the thing is, whatever the trend is, the status quo, the programming, like I am just not here for that. And I think there's been a lot of I know that there have been a lot of years of my adult life where I really kind of I don't want to say lost my spark, because I still had my spark, but I kind of lost my spiciness, my true voice. Yeah, that's the right word. I lost my true voice because I think we just went through this time, especially like, I think for me, it started before 2020, but especially during 2020 when, everybody is so fucking divided and everybody has a different opinion. And if you don't have the same opinion as someone else, like you're wrong, whether one way or the other. And, I just really, really watered myself down and became so in tune with kind of like the collective and people, like the person that I was in a relationship with at that point. And I just kind of stopped sharing any contrarian thoughts, beliefs, opinions, and just really kind of went along with the group that I had kind of associated myself with. Of course, it's not the same. Like there are multiple groups, but, and I just like thinking back to when I was in my like teens, early 20s, I was really outspoken, and actually a lot of times like in a cringy way. Like, like I look back or I think back and I'm like, oh man, I wish I didn't express it like that. Or I wish I wasn't that person that would like post a Facebook status, like saying something, whatever. But you can't take it back, but then I just like on the flip side, I just kind of like did a total 180 and just kind of went to the other extreme of just like never really wanting to say anything that could potentially be controversial, because I just truly don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I don't want to be perceived as someone who is just like a pot stirrer or someone who says things that are insensitive, and obviously I don't think anybody's intention should ever be to hurt another person or another group of people. I don't think anyone's intention should ever be to just, talk shit or to stir the pot or, just be a disruptor for the sake of being a disruptor. But I do think that it is really important to, one, not overly self-monitor, kind of like what I talked about a little last week, to not overly just censor yourself and self-monitor because you're worried that someone might pick apart what you're saying and what you believe in or your opinion, your viewpoint. Because guess what? Like, spoiler alert, they're going to. You could literally like do a post and be like, the sky is blue, and somebody would comment and be like, actually, it's da 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 da. Like, it, you know, that is just how it is. Like, you can't make everyone happy. There are some people who are just decidedly going to be miserable. There are some people who are going to just disagree. Like, they're going to find whatever, 2% of what you say that they can disagree with, or that they can try to prove you wrong about, and try to hit you with some facts that they try to make you look stupid. Like, people are going to do that. And I'm not saying that to be like negative or to be like, people suck, but like, some people do, some people are just keyboard warriors, and they would never say it to your face, but they're like all quick to comment on people's posts and reels. And like, I really haven't had a lot of that. But I also haven't really shared a lot of like hot takes, so to speak, online. And that is going to be changing. And it's certainly not like, this is absolutely not about to become like a political conversation, or like, I'm not going to start posting about stuff like that. That's not at all what I mean. But just like, even the topic of what I want to talk about today, which is AI, like, even that could be something that people could get all up in arms about. And it's like, people can start a fight about anything. People can start a debate about anything. And I think at some point we just have to lovingly speak our minds and our truth, and just know that there will be people who are going to combat. That is the reality that we live in, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't still speak up. And obviously, I don't advocate for like speaking up about things that you truly are naive about, or truly, truly uneducated about. Like, I am uneducated about a lot of things, and I'm not going to be speaking about those things, or if I do, I'm going to make sure that I say, I am not an expert on this. I could be wrong about this, So, okay, anyway, let's talk about AI. I just kind of going along somewhat with the topic of last week of just kind of inauthenticity in general. And this is kind of a different facet of the topic. And I think it's a big contributor to why we're seeing so many people online specifically kind of appear like be releasing the same kind of content. Like, everyone's just kind of appearing the same. And obviously I don't mean like how they look, but like they're sounding the same. And I think AI, I mean, it's obviously such a complex topic, and I'm not going to be talking about like the environmental side of it. Like, I know that there are a lot of consequences, and it takes a lot of environmental resources, even just to do like one ChatGPT like search or whatever. I'm aware of that. I'm not an expert on it. I can't like sit here and tell you all of the stats or whatever. And so that's not what this discussion is going to be centered around. This discussion is just going to be centered more around what I believe kind of some of the downfalls and dangers of AI are, and as well as what I think are really cool things about it. And like, honestly, I'm just going to tell you like how I use it, and also I'm going to out myself and tell you how I used to use it and how I have completely stopped that, because I can see that it's not going in a great direction, in my opinion. So, okay. First off, a little background, my AI experience. I actually was super late to the party with ChatGPT. Like, people were talking about ChatGPT for literal years before I ever even like understood really what it was. Like, I knew that it was AI, but I didn't know that it was like a website and an app that you could just like download for free. I don't know why. I just like thought that it was this thing that was probably expensive, and like you had to pay for it, and it was like really complex, and you had to kind of like understand coding. Like, I don't know why I like made it this big complicated thing, that just like this inaccessible thing in my mind. this was like way before I started my business. It was way before I started my podcast. And I just like was so, I had no use for it. Like in my mind, I had no use for it. And so it was just like literally not even something that I like Googled or took the time to like look more into. And, you know, I would hear people talk about like, oh yeah, ChatGPT like wrote my speech for me or wrote this or whatever. And I would just be like, oh, that's weird. Like, how, how did you get that? And, so then years go by and, I started my business in like literal days before the first of the year of 2025. So I started my business in very late December, like after Christmas, December of 2024. And, I, of course, didn't start my podcast until like several months after that too, but I don't know what it was, but something like, I don't know if maybe somebody had posted. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I do remember what it was. I think people were talking about that ChatGPT prompt, like a day in the life where you like put, like around the time of a new year, you kind of visualize your dream self, you know, your best case life and your higher self and like who you want to be and what does your dream life day look like, and you like put in those details and you say like, write me a story about a day in the life of like my dream life. And I thought that sounded really cool, and so I wanted to do that. And so at that point, I guess, is when I like Googled ChatGPT and saw that it was free. And I was like, no way. Like we just have access to this. Like we can just use this and that's it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I haven't been using this for like way longer. It was just funny. I was just so clueless. And so I ended up doing that prompt and it was like really cool. I like cried at the story that it wrote me, like just my like daytime story. I just was like, oh my God, this is really, really cool. And I just kind of saw the power of how it could help you potentially, you know, manifest things, because it does like get you into those emotions. And I think it's different whenever it wrote that story for me. Like I didn't have to plan it all out and, you know, be like, okay, so at 7 a.m. I would wake up and then I would do this and then I would do that. Like I just put in like details of like, okay, my dream life, she would do this and she would do this and she would do this. And then it like just wrote me a whole thing. And I feel like it felt more like I was just observing that already happening and being a reality whenever I wasn't the one that had to like write the whole thing. So anyway, I don't know if that like makes sense, but it's kind of irrelevant. So anyway, I created my ChatGPT, and then after that I was like about to start my business. And so I was using it I was brainstorming like, what do I name my business? And at that point I was still really scared to like put my name on anything. I wanted to have like a business name that didn't have like my name in it. Because I was just, I was scared. I wanted to have anonymity, and which is kind of funny because like I also like still posted videos like with me in it, me talking in it. But I just didn't want to be like searchable. Like if people knew me, I didn't want them to like type in my name and like this account come up, which like now I don't care, and it is my name and it just is what it is. But I don't know. I feel like it's so scary whenever you're like, let's say you're in the corporate world, or maybe you were like me, you used to be involved in church, and like I still had a lot of followers. I still do have a lot of followers from like when I was in my churchy days, and like on my personal account, not on my new business account. But I just like needed there to be some separation, because I was just so scared that somebody was going to like come across my content and be like, oh my God, what is Sydney doing? And I just, anyway, so I was like brainstorming business names. I was creating logos. I was just, having it help me create like a business strategy, a social media strategy, brand colors, like all kinds of things. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like this is helping me. Like I'm giving it the information, but it's like giving me ideas that I didn't even think about, or it's telling me like, okay, you need to do this and you need to buy a domain. And it was just stuff that like I didn't know, I hadn't done before, and I hadn't like thought of it in that moment. And so I think that it's really cool in ways like that. But then, like, to be honest with you, I did get to the point where I was using it for content and like content creation, and I would say, I want to do a post about this, like this. I wouldn't like have it create all of the ideas, but I would have it like write the content. So let's just say at first I was posting a lot of stuff about like manifesting and energy work and stuff like that. Like that's kind of where I started. And I still talk about those things, but like just kind of in a different way, I guess. But I would like, let's just say I would do like, okay, write me a post about why it's a good idea to be detached when you're manifesting, or, write me a post about da 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 da. And, so it's like, okay, the idea came from me, but I didn't write the whole thing. And then I would be like, okay, great. Now write me a caption. And I think like that is now what we are seeing everybody do, almost everybody do. Not 100% of people, but like you can tell. ChatGPT has a very specific writing style. And once I started like really noticing this, because at first, when it's spitting out these like long captions with all the emojis and it's like very organized and you're like, whoa, like this looks good. And then you just kind of realize, oh wait, we all fucking sound the same here. Like I could scroll and most of the things that I'm seeing are gonna sound the same. And there's even like key phrases that once you kind of learn, they're very ChatGPT coded. Like there were so many phrases that I would see in the content that it would give me, like phrases like "you're not broken," "let it land," "take a breath." It would just be stuff like that, and I like, that's not how I talk. I don't say. I guess in certain contexts, I might say "let it land," but like that's not what I'm writing in a caption. And I certainly don't say like, "you're not broken, you're just da 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 da." Like that's just not something that I would typically say. And I like was noticing these same things in a lot of other people's posts, and and then there's like when it does like the performative question things where it'll be like blah 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 and honestly question mark da 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 da, and I fucking hate that. Like that became such an ick for me. I hate that. And it's just overly like it just, again, you guys are probably going to get so sick of hearing me say the word performative, but like it feels very dramatic and it feels very performative the way that ChatGPT writes. And I think at first I didn't notice it, or I just thought it was cool because, it was like new and it was helping me because I wasn't having to write all of the captions or whatever. And then I just started like realizing, especially now, it's just like out of control. Everybody sounds the same. And you just like, there's this one person, like she was a friend. Now I haven't talked to her in a while, but, like even just she'll post like pictures of herself or like a video of herself or whatever. And she'll do this long ass, clearly ChatGPT caption. Like it is so over the top dramatic. And it's so like, I'm like, girl, you don't talk like that. Most people don't talk like that. It sounds almost like a soliloquy or like a monologue in a movie. Like when you watch like The Summer I Turned Pretty, and she like Belly is like narrating, or she's like reading something like while like a voiceover over a scene. And that's almost like what it's giving. That's what like these ChatGPT captions are giving. And it's like, I mean, if that's truly your style and you're like, I love this and this is genuine for me and this is how I talk, cool. I love that for you. But that's just not how most of us are. Like if you were to meet me in real life, you would be like very quickly, that is not how you are. That's not how you present yourself. And that would be true. So I'm just like really, again, like having no tolerance for like, I'm just kind of, to be quite frank, wanting to like rip my hair out whenever I'm seeing all of these ChatGPT generated captions and content. And I'm just like, I don't believe you. Because at this point, whenever I'm seeing all of these creators who might very well be like experts and they might be very credible and they might be like amazing. But when I'm seeing what is clearly not written by you in like how you're showing up, I'm losing trust. I'm losing, like, in my eyes, you're losing credibility. I'm not going to be likely to invest in whatever it is that you're offering. And I may have previously been interested. Like maybe you are amazing and the transformation that you provide is actually quite great. And like you are maybe a wonderful coach. But if I can tell that you are just like copying and pasting all of your shit into Instagram and TikTok from ChatGPT, I don't have faith that I am truly like getting a picture of you, of who you are. And then if I don't have a picture of you, how would I know what I'm going to get if I were to invest in like working with you one-on-one or something? I feel like people are just unknowingly or unintentionally completely misrepresenting themselves online by using these ChatGPT generic captions. And it's one thing if you're like, hey, can you write me a caption about blah, 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 blah. Make sure to mention this, this, and this, and blah, 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 blah. And then it spits out something and then you edit the shit out of it to make sure that it does sound like you. Like that's one thing. I can get on board with that. That's okay. But I think that's not what a lot of people are doing. And it is coming across like it's not giving what you're wanting it to give. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. And I think that a lot of people, I know that I'm not alone in this. I think a lot of people are losing trust in coaches, in quote unquote experts, in any kind of like practitioner or just, content creators who claim to be an expert in whatever it is. I think whenever you're clearly not having, whether it's the confidence or you're just not making the time to show up and like actually infuse yourself into the content and let people get to know you and how are you different from everyone else. Like that's what we're not really seeing whenever we're all having the same platform create our content. It all sounds the same. It is not showing you. It is not showing what makes you unique, what makes you different. Why should I invest in you versus someone else? And like I said, then if somebody does, like, let's say somebody loves the ChatGPT version of you, they're like, yes, I am here for this. I love this. And they invest in like, let's say a one-on-one mentorship with you. And then like they get to talking with you and they're like, who the fuck is this? Because this does not sound like the person that all your posts, like, I was sold on this version of you and now I'm getting this other version of you and it is not congruent. And that is, I think, again, like I don't think that this is all like I don't think people are doing this out of bad intention. Like I really don't. I think people are wanting the convenience, obviously. They're wanting to save time. They're wanting to get more done in a shorter amount of time, which like sometimes that's good. And sometimes it's like, we don't need to be speed shortcutting. That's what I'm trying to say. We don't need to be shortcutting everything, you know, like some things do take a little bit of time, and that's okay. Like that is how it is supposed to be. Not everything is supposed to be spit out in 20 seconds. You know, some things, some good things do take a little bit of time. We do live in a 3D world, you know? And so I don't think that people are doing this like maliciously by any means, but I think that people are unknowingly really repelling people that could be like their soul clients. And I think that other people who they are attracting with that less authentic content are then maybe being repelled when they actually do work with them and they see like, oh, okay, there's a disconnect here. Yeah, that's one point of it. I mean, you can even look back at some of my content from months ago, and you can see I didn't write 100% of the content. I didn't write 100% of the captions. I would say, hey, can you write me a post about da 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 da, and give it the details or whatever. And then, hey, can you also write me a matching caption? And here's the CTA. Here's the call to action. And yes, I would edit it to make it sound a little bit more like me, but like even looking back, I'm like, dang, I can't believe I didn't edit that more. Like I don't talk like that. And so now my promise, my commitment is that my content will be 100% written by me. And if that means a shorter caption or, you know, whatever that means, a typo, God forbid, a typo here and there, then at least you know that it's authentic. At least you know that it was real and that I wrote it and it wasn't just like regurgitated from AI. So, moving forward, that's what you can expect from me whenever I do start posting again, which is going to be soon. And, also, I just feel like another one of the dangers of AI, which this one is pretty big, is that people are trusting it, I think, way too much. And I mean, obviously people are using it for everything now, you know, like people are getting legal advice from ChatGPT, which there's been like actual court cases where it's like ChatGPT has given the person like incredibly wrong information, and it does not, we can't just make these assumptions that everything, like just because it came from the internet or just because it came from an AI bot or whatever, that it is factual and it's the end all be all, because it literally isn't. And so I want to share this story with you. This was my own personal experience. So I was scrolling, I think it was on TikTok, and I saw this guy, and he was like using the voice version of ChatGPT, which I've never used before. But he was like, it worked better that way for video, obviously. So he's talking back and forth with his ChatGPT, like verbally. And he said, how many R's are there in the word strawberry? And Chat came back and said, there are 2 R's in the word strawberry. And he's like, what? Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure that's your final answer, that there are 2 R's in the word strawberry? And they just like went back and forth and back and forth. And he's like, okay, no, there's 3. There are 3. Like, how are you getting 2? And ChatGPT just kept arguing back and forth. And it was like, yeah, no, I could see how you would think that, but there are 2 R's in the word strawberry. And I was like, this is incredible. I cannot believe this. And I was just like, I wonder if like his ChatGPT just has some weird settings or something, like, cause you know, they all kind of attune to us. They learn us. And, so I went into my ChatGPT. I started a new chat and I just said, how many R's are there in the word strawberry? And I kid you not, guys, it said 2. It said 2 R's. And I said, there are literally 3 R's. And it was like, oh, you're right. blah, 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 blah. That was my mistake. And I said, why did you say that it was 2 if it's definitely 3? And it was just like, oh, it was just like a common, like a classic mistake. I just miscounted, blah, blah, blah. You know, it gave its whole like chat GPT explanation. And I just was like, that just was so crazy to me. Like, I already don't trust ChatGPT with my life. Like, I know a lot of people do. I don't. Like, I do ask it for advice, like sometimes, or like I'll get into that and like how I use it for health. I'll share that. But I already like wasn't 100% trusting of it, but like even just seeing that, I was like, this is insane. People are out here falling in love with their chat GPT. Like literally, you know, we've all heard, I'm sure at this point, of the men who are like literally having emotional affairs with their chat GPT bot woman thing that they've created. Like they're actually having romantic feelings, and they think they've like tricked themselves into thinking that this is a sentient being and that they are reciprocating the feelings. And I'm just like, no, a chat is literally just like reflecting you back to you with its own weird little twist. But, anyway, so it can't even, you know, there are some times when it's incredibly helpful, and then there are some times when it literally can't even count the number of R's in the word strawberry. And I just think that that is so significant, and people need to realize, you know, whenever you're using it for therapy, or you're using it for medical advice or legal advice or relationship advice, like we need to just keep in mind that it is not always smarter than us. I think it's easy to think that it is. I think it's really easy to fall into that kind of trap of thinking that AI knows more than you do. And it might know more than you do, like literally. It might have technically more information than you, but it doesn't have the same context that you have. Like it is never going to be human. As human as it might feel, it is never going to actually be human. It's never going to actually have the emotions that you have, and it doesn't have the same perspective or context. It might be really, really useful for pointing out like pattern recognition, or, you know, things like that, but it is not ever going to have the same consciousness or perspective that you have. And I just really, really feel that people are becoming way too reliant on AI and, you know, ChatGPT specifically, and like just not able to like go anywhere or do anything without like asking chat, or, you know, not even being able to respond to like a text or an email without like, can you write me a response to blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, dude, what did you do before, you know? Like if you need something to be really good and you need something to be really well written, I understand like wanting some help, or like wanting to get something edited. Like you give it a rough draft and you say, hey, can you refine this? Like I totally get that. And I do that too. But whenever we're just like basically putting all of our responsibility, or like all of the creativity into the hands of AI, like again, you're losing you. You are not infusing yourself into it. You're just having a robot create you something and like putting your name on it. And it might look good, like let's say like grammatically good, or, you know, it uses a wide range of vocabulary, but again, it's not you, and people can feel that. You might not think that people are smart enough to feel that, but they can feel that. I promise you. I know I am not the only one that feels this way. Like 100% I know I'm not. Okay, so I want to talk to you about how, and obviously this is just me sharing, like you get to choose, as with anything, you get to choose how you do it and what feels good and right and aligned to you. Like maybe AI feels 100% unaligned and you don't use it at all. Cool. But if you're like me and you do want to utilize it in ways that feel like they actually accentuate your life, and make your life easier in some ways. Like, so here's how, for like medical stuff, here's what I use it for. I think it's really helpful. As you guys know, I am in the TTC journey, the trying to conceive journey. And, I definitely will use it for questions like that I just want a quick answer for, that I don't really want to Google, like, because I have a thread going that is pretty much just like health stuff, and it has all of my lab results. It has like my most recent lab results. It has my health backstory. Like, it has all of that history, whereas like Google doesn't have that, obviously. So I feel like that thread that I have going on chat, like, it is going to give me a lot better of advice than I would get just from Googling it, or like even asking a medical professional that doesn't know. Like, the medical professional might like have a very vast knowledge of medicine or health or whatever, but they don't know my history. So that's like kind of the missing piece there. So, what I'll do often is, if there's something that I'm questioning, like, oh, okay, is it safe to do this if I might be pregnant? Or, like, so for instance, the other day, right now at the time of recording, I am in the, like, past ovulation period. So I'm like in the phase where I could be pregnant, but I don't know yet. And so I'm like, obviously I don't want to do anything that could be dangerous, like if I were pregnant. And so I'm like asking chat, I'm like, is it safe to stand on my vibration plate if there's a chance that I have conceived, like, so it's stuff like that. Or something else that I find really handy for is like, there's been times when I've put pictures, like if my face has been breaking out in like a specific pattern or a specific like kind of pimple or something, like I'll take a picture of it and put it in there and be like, okay, so can you tell me what pregnancy safe Korean skincare, because I prefer Korean skincare, what pregnancy safe Korean skincare products would help with this kind of breakout? Or I might say, what supplements would you recommend for me right now, knowing that these are my concerns and that I'm trying to conceive? So it's like stuff like that. It has also helped me consolidate a lot of my supplements, because there for a while I was taking a lot of supplements. I was taking a lot, and I just was like, okay, I don't feel like I need to be taking 15 supplements a day. And not only do I not feel like I need to, but I don't want to. And I feel like a lot of times, especially for sensitive, like hypersensitive individuals like myself, like I'm not like hypersensitive emotionally, but I am hypersensitive physically. And, I just think that a lot of times, like, less is more, and overloading your system and your nervous system with just more supplements is actually oftentimes like it's actually not doing the benefit that you would hope that it is. It's actually kind of having the reverse effect sometimes. So, I would like put in, okay, this is all the supplements I'm taking. This is the dosage, blah, 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 blah. Like, how can I consolidate this? What might not be necessary anymore? Is there anything that I'm missing that I really do need to add in that I'm not even taking right now? And like, what can I just discontinue altogether? Blah, blah, blah. Is there another supplement that kind of combines these to where I could just take like one capsule versus like 3 or 4? Stuff like that. I find it to be very helpful with. And, it can write you meal plans. It can write you like sample meal plans. Like, so if you say, for instance, I'm not someone who counts calories, but I've heard of people being like, okay, I've just calculated my macros, or can you help me calculate my macros? This is my goal weight. This is my activity level. This is my age, my current weight, blah, 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 blah. And then can you create me a sample meal plan that would go along with that? Like, all of that, in my opinion, is harmless. I think, like, as long as you are still, you don't want to just turn off your brain and just like do whatever it says. Like, if something clearly feels wrong or just intuitively feels not quite right for you, like, go with that. Don't, like, always trust your intuition more than what anything, whether it's AI or whether it's a person, is telling you. Like, always, always, always trust your intuition first. And you might not know why. You might not know like what about it feels off, but you can always figure that out later. Don't just trust anything at face value, like just because it's AI or just because it's an expert or just because whatever. Like it doesn't, you know better, and you might not know why or how you know better, but you do, and you do have access to that to that information via your intuition. So okay. So yeah, just the whole strawberry thing and the R's, and I was just like, oh my God, people are out here like literally trusting this, this platform with their life and their finances and their legal situations and their mental health and who knows what else, their physical health. So yeah, I really want to I'm not trying at all to discourage you from using it. Like, obviously, like I said, I do use it and I do feel like it is a benefit. Like, yes, I know it's not a benefit to the environment, but I do believe that it is a benefit. It can make a lot of things easier, which I know, like, whenever you Google things, like now there is an AI. I don't know if it's through like Gemini or something, like that's the Google version of AI, but like whenever you Google something now, like a question, you do actually get like an AI summary. But like before that started happening, sometimes Googling stuff wasn't the most, like you didn't get the most clarity from it, because all that it would pull up a lot of times is just a bunch of like sponsored websites, or what, like, let's say you want to search like best foundation, best makeup foundation for dry skin or whatever. You're not actually most times going to get like the top rated foundation that comes up for you. You're going to get whichever makeup companies paid the most to appear at the top of the search. Like that's just basic SEO, search engine optimization. Like those companies that show up at the top, like they pay for that. They are not just appearing because they actually are the best. Like they're paying these companies and these experts to make them the most searchable for keywords like best foundation, best coverage, best makeup, stuff like that. And like, so it's not necessarily the actual like true answer. It's just who paid, who has the best marketing, essentially. And it is, like I said, it's better now that there is like the Gemini AI built into Google, but sometimes, with Google, like you still have to do the work to like figure out what the answer to the question is. And I think sometimes like the benefit with ChatGPT is that it kind of like summarizes it for you. Like it pulls from all of these different sources and then like gives you one kind of well-rounded answer. I mean, for the most part, it's not always correct, but it gives you kind of a more comprehensive, I think is the right word, comprehensive answer versus you just Googling and having to click on a bunch of different links to come to your own conclusion, which like, again, that actually may be the more beneficial thing to do, because then you are still using your brain and you're like able to kind of use your intuition and kind of be like, okay, like this is the conclusion that I've come to, versus just getting an answer spit out at you immediately and you just taking it and trusting it with 100% certainty. So, there's definitely pros and cons to both. There are pros and cons to literally everything. But yeah, that's just kind of the conversation that I really wanted to have about AI. I'm seeing a few other creators, who are like much more successful and like larger than myself at this point. But I think like some other people are also feeling the same way. And I think that I really hope that we are in the near future going to start seeing just some more like true authenticity, like kind of going back to like, when Instagram first came out and people were just posting things that like made them happy, and they were like writing these really like cheesy captions that now we would look back and be like, oh, that's so cringy. But like also it was real. It wasn't overly edited. It wasn't overly curated. It wasn't this fucking B-roll of you like fake adjusting your sunglasses, or, you know, like doing some weird, you know, filming a 5 to 7 second B-roll of you checking yourself out in the mirror. Like, you know, like people, I think if you had showed us, like whenever Instagram first came out and we created our accounts, I think if you had shown us like a preview of where it was going to go and the kind of things that people would be posting, we would have been like, what? Why can't I just post a picture of my dinner? You know, because it used to just be like a lot of food pics and like outfit of the day and like these like up close selfies that like really weren't that good, but it didn't matter. That was the point. It wasn't overly edited and curated and like just too planned out. Like it just was what it was, and it wasn't overly filtered. I mean, it very soon got to the point where everything was overly filtered. But anyway, so I feel like we might be kind of making a turn, some of us, to go back in that direction. And it's like kind of almost appreciating the imperfection, appreciating if somebody has a typo in their post, or they like stutter a little bit, or they're talking a little bit slow or something. And it's like, this isn't perfect and this isn't really what the algorithm wants, but they posted it anyway. And I think that that's going to resonate with people in a different way. Whereas before, like that kind of used to get you like shadow banned or something because people weren't interacting with your content and it wasn't getting pushed out. But I really kind of feel this just kind of intuitive feeling that people are going to be resonating with that kind of real content more and more, and just feeling more and more repelled by the completely unoriginal, just overly dramatic, performative, adjective heavy like ChatGPT captions. And I think we can all see through it if we really like have any awareness to it. And I just really don't believe that that's what people want and what people are drawn to anymore. I think it worked for a little while, and I think just like with anything, it seems like with humans, like we just don't seem to get the concept of more is not better. You know, like a little bit of a good thing is a good thing, but a lot of a good thing is very often a bad thing. And I think that just as humans, like this is why we can't have nice things, you know, like we just take things too fucking far. And I think that is exactly what we're doing with AI in a lot of ways, but I'm really just speaking more in this instance on the social media content creation side of it. But yeah, we've obviously taken it too far in a lot of ways. But anyway, so, okay, I think that's about all that I wanted to say. I didn't have a single note or anything for this episode, so I very well could hit done recording and then think of something that I wanted to say, but I'll just have to live with that if that's the case. So I hope that you all have a beautiful rest of your week and weekend, and I will talk to you next Thursday.